There are a couple of ways that, this is our last session, and the way that our last session is gonna kind of flow is we're gonna spend a few minutes just talking about what might have happened between last session and this one. And I wanna also spend a few minutes summarizing what's happened over this time. It's sort of a short amount of time, but some people really make some great progress, and some people kind of have taken a really small step, but it's really great progress for them. And for the purposes of my class, what I need to do is make a referral. You might not want it, but I need to do it. And then we'll have some time for feedback. And then the last thing is an evaluation or a survey. And what I'll do is leave the room so that you have a chance to fill that out. Okay. So we're gonna skip the unfinished business stuff and just go to summarizing. There are a couple of ways that we could sort of summarize what we've talked about. And I'm wondering if maybe we could share that. We've had, this is our 6th session. Is it our 6th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our 6th session. And maybe what we could do is talk about the highlights of each session.
Okay.
So what were some of the, what have been some of the highlights for you?
Does highlights have to mean good things?
They can be anything. Things that stand out.
Well, the first session we got to talk about just like the passing of my grandma and just how I'm coping with that. And then the sessions after that we got to talk about like my roommates, how I can kind of like mother them, like I'm the responsible one they're doing, you know, like what I need them to do around the house. We talked about like my parents, just the different things with them, and just being able to, I guess for me, like realizing how much I want people to approach me, you know, and to listen to what's going on with me, but then at the same time I don't want to like be weak and talk about my emotions. And then in this last session, last time we talked about just my need to talk to my roommates about like the respect that I need. Just being angry that they don't clean up and they don't respect me, and I need that from them.
Yeah, it seems like there was a theme with the sessions, and one of the themes that I noticed was about expectations and communication. So what are some things that you noticed?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I expect, you know, like my roommates to do things that they're not doing, and communication, like I feel like I don't know, sometimes I don't tell them, and sometimes I tell them, but it's still like not communicating, you know, it's still not working how I want it to work.
Okay, and somewhere in there, I think it was, so the 3rd session we set some goals for not just our work, but could have been future, and I'm wondering if you remember some of those goals. So I think I do, and I've also got the paperwork here that we can refer to, but what were some of the goals that we set?
I think it was just like reflecting, like thinking about the communication, like we're talking like that piece, like why it isn't working, and maybe try to go about it differently, or try to think about how I could go about it differently, and then also just the part with my emotions, like being real with how I really feel instead of trying to like pretend I'm okay.
And it sounds like you're moving in the direction that you want to be moving in.
I think so.
Okay, and the 4th session, we talked about a new skill, and I'm wondering how things are going with that skill at this point.
We did role playing, so I got to tell my roommates, that I wanted them to clean up more, and I actually we called together like a house meeting yesterday, so I got to like talk to them about what I want. So that was good.
Well, congratulations on that. That was that little but big progress at the same time.
Yeah.
And so you've done a lot in this time that we've had together. I'm wondering, you know, if we were to be able to continue, where you see yourself going. What's the direction that you want to go in?
I think like stop pretending that I'm okay when I'm not, you know, like just being able to be be, you know, weak sometimes or be vulnerable.
Sort of being really genuine and sort of, I call it in integrity. So your thoughts and your feelings and your actions are all in alignment.
Yeah.
Okay. And that takes a lot of work, but you're on your way. So anything else that stands out about our work?
I mean, I feel like I just really appreciate how you like listen to me. Like I don't normally, you know, tell people what I'm thinking or talk about how I feel ever. So I always have to be like the strong one, you know. So it's nice just to have like a space where, you know, I don't have to be strong.
Well, so at the very first session, we talked about what counseling is. And so what I'd love to hear from you is maybe if you had to tell somebody else about what counseling is now, what would you say?
Well, before I thought it was like giving advice. You know, like you would tell me what to do, but you haven't at all. So I think it's just like I don't know, like exploring or kind of looking at or figuring out kind of what's really going on, you know, and being able to look at different things too and how they all tie together. A lot of like what I talked about comes back to my childhood. So like seeing how
that's
ties.
one of the big core themes that also cut across what we talked about too.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering from here, and I have to make a referral because of the class that I'm taking. But what's the likelihood of your kind of wanting to work with another counselor? You don't have to right now, but
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Well, if you at some point decide that you want to, there are a couple of places that you could check into. One is because you're a student, you could go to the counseling center here on campus. They're over in Web Center, and I think, well, you can go there to schedule an appointment, or you can call to schedule an appointment. And the first appointment is just an intake, so it's a lot of information gathering. But there are other places that are in the area too. One is EVMS. EVMS has that's Eastern Virginia Medical School. They have a residence clinic. And what that means is that they have a sliding scale. So anybody can go, and depending on your income, and it's just down the street. And I can supply you with some phone numbers as well. The third place, and this is true for almost any area, almost any area has either social services or a community services board, and they work with a variety of folks. For us, that's actually over on Olney Road. The last thing, the fourth thing is, depending on your health insurance, you might have behavioral health, that's what it's called, behavioral health benefits. So you could call your health insurance to see what kind of benefit that you might have and potentially get a referral through them. Okay. So that could be anywhere that you go.
Could I talk to you again? Is that okay?
I really wish, but this was for this class. So probably the best bet would be to go to the counseling center on campus. I want you to know I really appreciate your asking me that. And that tells me that you got some good things from this experience. So this is actually a good time for, I'd love to hear any feedback that you have for me about what we did and the counseling skills, and so any feedback that you might have for me.
I mean, this was my first time in counseling, so it was just really good.
Anything in particular that stands out?
I mean, I like being listened to.
That was really helpful for you.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to know that this has been an extraordinary experience for me. You were my very first client that wasn't a classmate, and I really appreciate your willingness to volunteer and to come every session. You come every session, you're on time, and that makes a difference for me. Please know that I learned an awful lot from you, and I'm grateful to you for this experience.
Thanks. I learned a lot too, so.
Well, you said that you had.
Yeah.
Well, so any questions or comments from here?
I don't think so.
The last thing is I have a survey for you to fill out. And so I've got a pen and I've got the paper and an envelope for you to put it in. What you're gonna do is, and it actually says on the survey here, it says to go ahead and fill it out and then put it in Dr. Thompson's box. Her box is in room 110. So that's where you waited outside for me to pick you up every session. So just go in there. They're all in alphabetical order, and you just pop the envelope in her box. All right. So I'm just going to leave you here to fill out the survey, and my partner and I are going to leave the room, and all you need to do is take the envelope and put it in the box when you're done. Okay. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your willingness to come in.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
No hugging.
No hugging.
Okay.
Do you want me to keep recording?
Go ahead and turn it on.